Tonight on Ctv3 News, voters of Toledo East come out in masses to elect a new area representative. Polls are now officially closed and preparation for counting begins. The Transport Department appeals to drivers to practice road safety following the weekend's deadly road traffic accidents. And newly appointed Northern Regional Commander talks to us about his crime fighting strategies. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Wednesday, July 17th, 2024.
Is split between Greens aligned with Alicent and Eganite section and Blacks who support Rainera in claiming the Iron Throne.
War is coming. Neither of us may win.
Pledge your allegiance. Watch House of Dragons Season 2 on Max.
This plan, I can't leave this plan. Smart believes.
Hey there, smart thinkers. We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a Lone Ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any Smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
I know I can't leave this plan. I can't leave this plan.
Good evening. With your news, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Minutes before the polls close at 6 p.m., 4,227 ballots had been cast out of the 7,725 registered voters in Toledo East. This represents a 55.72% of voter turnout for the by-election. At this very moment, moves are being made for counting to commence sometime around 8 p.m., with results expected to be announced around midnight or earlier. Today's by-election was prompted following the tragic passing of former Minister and Area Rep. Honorable Mike Espat in April of this year. Since very early this morning, the two mass parties as well as a third-party candidate were hard at work bringing out voters for their candidates. As viewers may be aware, the ruling People's United Party is represented in today's election by former CEO Dr. Osmond Martinez, while the UDP counts with Dennis Williams. Today's election also saw Will Mejia running independently. Our media colleagues were on the ground throughout the day and spoke to some of the main characters during today's democratic process. As expected, the leaders of both main political parties were out from very early supporting their candidate. For the PUP, Prime Minister John Brisenia celebrated his birthday with the people of Toledo East.
I think that we have done the work. I know a lot of people, and I know the father of the nation used to say that elections are won on election day. Elections are not won on election day. Elections are won before election day. On election day, all you do is just implement. And Osborne Martinez and his team, they've been doing an awesome job in the preparation, in the organizing, getting our voters tagged and who's going to take out who and so forth. And we have the confidence. We have the confidence that people are going to support him. And it's not only because the PUP has been doing a fantastic job, which we have, but probably just as important is that Osborne Martinez represent what it is to be a true servant, because many times we get caught up with the choppings of the office, but really we are servants. We have to serve, we have to work with people, to help people. How is it that we could make their lives better? And Osborne grew up in a banana farm 4, and when I was in Bella Vista, many families were telling me, say, I remember when Osborne was a little boy barefoot and just a short pants, because they were very, very poor. He is a great example of what hard work can do. He worked hard in school, he studied, listened to a teacher, got scholarships, and managed now to get a doctorate in developmental economics. And so he understands poverty not only from a book side or university, but he lived it. So he knows what are the challenges that we're facing in Toledo District and by extension Belize. So I'm very excited to have Osborne to be a part of our team.
Similarly, the leader of the opposition, Shine Barrow, also displayed confidence in his candidate from early in the day.
People like Mr. Williams very much. They know Mr. Williams very well. And many people are resentful for the way that the People's United Party has treated Melhem Espat. That is certainly a factor. And high cost of living. You hear that in Bella Vista, you hear that here. And just the fact that nothing has gotten better under the Briceño administration.
While there was a low voter turnout in the better part of the day, PUP candidate Dr. Osborne Martinez was confident the turnout would improve and his people would come out to show their support.
We have our machinery in place, and it's a lot of work that has been going on it. We have our logistics department, we have our HR department, we have our the operational part of it, you know, the crew who is responsible to be on the ground. So we have the greeters. I mean, we practically develop a machinery that where science and technology and algorithm, for the first time it has been introduced into the political arena.
But now here in Punta Gorda, this morning the turnout was very low. I believe in a lot of the villages it's very low. So have you been able to bring out those people, or do you expect that they will come out later on in the evening?
Well, we are bringing out our people. You know, that is one. The second part is the tradition of when we look at the historical data, you know, in Toledo, normally it goes slow and then it picks up sometimes in the afternoon. No? I think that trend we might be seeing it again, but we are doing our part.
Will you be here when the votes are counted here in PG later on tonight?
Yes, I will be here. We've been working for today. We've been working to count the votes, and we've been working to hear who's the winner. No?
Political leaders from both major parties were also out in full support throughout the day. Deputy Prime Minister Cordell Hyde made his predictions from early as he joined other PUP ministers to bid their support for Dr. Martinez.
We all want to come down here. We're political animals. We get excited when election times. And, you know, 9 years ago, July, we had a very unfortunate by-election in Danguiga. And so we feel like 9 years later, July, in this case, the 17th of July, we're going to have a reverse of fortunes, and we will end up on top this time, you know. So, so it's exciting for us, and we had to come. We had to come. You can't do a political animal. I don't want to come down here. It's a very important elections for everyone. It's a very short election, as you know. They've had a very short campaign by our measure. In this case, these are two new candidates, so it's impossible for them to cover the full gamut of this constituency. You're talking about 7,800 voters. You know, I have 6,200 voters, and I need all the time in the world to deal with that. And so I can only imagine how hard it's been for them to try to reach everyone. So they've not been able to do that. So they've had to be creative, have a lot of meetings, group meetings, and I guess use social media and that kind of good stuff. But I expect it to pick up as the day goes by.
Official results for today's by-election is expected later in the night. Over the weekend, Belize witnessed 2 horrific road traffic accidents. One was registered here in Orange Walk where 4 persons lost their life, and the second was in the south where 3 persons, including a 5-year-old and a 17-year-old, died as a result of the collision. With an increase in road traffic accidents across the country, a number of ministries, including the Ministry of Transport, are constantly looking at means and ways to curb the traffic fatalities. Programs designed include spreading awareness on the importance of road safety. Yet with all the educational campaigns, the biggest contributors of fatal car and motorcycle accidents remain to be driving while intoxicated, speeding, weather-related conditions, reckless driving, and distracted driving. Today, Senior Transport Officer at the Orange Walk Municipal Traffic Department was on our morning show and weighed in on the tragic loss of lives due to RTs.
You need to check the weather, you need to check your tires, you need to check your wipers. You know, we're in the rainy season, Ms. Carmen. Sometimes we see vehicles that are coming, approaching us with, you literally see drivers with their hands outside trying to wipe the windshield. And this put them at risk. Not only at night, we need to check our lights, Ms. Carmen. It's the rainy season. We all know when it's raining, you need to have on your lights, right? So it goes back to, again, how we behave towards, what approach do we have towards our vehicle. Your brakes, we need to check our brakes. We need to check our proper signals, our hazard. And always remember the rules of the road, the basic rules of the road. Speeding, the proper distance behind a vehicle. The way we overtake, I always say driving is like a body language, right? You need to indicate to me what is it you want to do on the road, so then I can know how I can assist you by you doing that. If you are indicating to me that you are overtaking me, what should I do? Should I speed up or should I lean towards you? So basic things like that.
And there are many steps we can take to prevent an accident.
There's another thing that we call defensive driving, and there's also aggressive driving, right? Sometimes you have drivers that wake up early, you have 2 hours to reach the Belize City. So what? You're going to take your time, practice all the defensive measures because you have time. Unlike if you are late now, you would be driving aggressive on the road, putting the one that is driving defensively at risk as well, because you will be overtaking on a curve, you will be passing the speed limits when approaching villages. I mean, we have villages from here to Belize City, we have villages from here to Crozal, whereby they are pedestrians. We have school time. Well, school is closed now, right? But we have these children, we have many road users that we put at risk by driving aggressive on the road, Ms. Carmen.
Prevention of traffic accidents also depends on the attitude of the person behind the wheel.
If you want to overtake, you need to have proper visual way up ahead of you to see if there is any incoming vehicle. Then you notify the driver in front of you by way of signaling, by way of I see some people give you a high beam, because you're looking at them with high beam, low beam. Then you indicate to the driver, you give him that confidence to pass when you reduce your speed and lean a little bit to the right.
Okay.
So then that person can pass you safely.
Right.
That's
So
the
even
proper
the
way
person
to do it.
at front has something to do,
He has an
right?
important role to play in you overtaking. Especially if there's a narrow road, but overtaking is allowed.
Right.
We need to go back to following the dotted lines and the solid lines of the road.
Yes.
If you have a solid line on your side, that's indicating to you cannot overtake. For whatever reason, for maybe a curve ahead, maybe you're approaching a village, maybe you're approaching something. The solid lines stand for you cannot overtake. The dotted lines means you can overtake.
Okay.
So we need to remember these things.
And those are things that we tend to
Especially,
not
Ms.
look
Carmen,
out
if
for.
we are traveling in an area that we do not know. If I'm going to drive down south, I'll be honest with you, I have went there, I've been there a lot when I was in the BDF, but I haven't driven there to see that, hey, I have experience driving down south.
Exactly.
So what will I do now? I would be extra cautious. I would look at the lines on the road, I would look at the signs, and I would respect the speed limits.
Many accidents also occur because people try to overtake each other on roads. Officer Hill says there are rules to follow in order to accomplish this vehicular move.
If you want to overtake, you need to have proper visual way up ahead of you to see if there is any incoming vehicle. Then you notify the driver in front of you by way of signaling, by way of I see some people give you a high beam, because you're looking at them with high beam, low beam. Then you indicate to the driver, you give him that confidence to pass when you reduce your speed and lean a little bit to the right.
Okay.
So then that person can pass you safely.
Right.
That's
So
the proper way to do it.
even the person at front has something to do,
He has an
right?
important role to play in you overtaking.
In respect to the Orange Walk Town Council Traffic Department, officers are executing their work with one sole purpose: to make sure that the rules of the roads are respected in order to secure everyone's safety. As a result, a number of drivers have been ticketed for various traffic violations.
We have motorcycles with huge lights. You would think it's a vehicle, and when they approach you, it's a small motorcycle.
And what's the penalty for that on the vehicle?
It's a $50 fine.
$50.
Which I think, should increase. And those are one of the things. I recently came back from Belmopan, and we had a week of very intensive training when it comes to road safety approaches, and we were there for a week. And the things that we learned, information that we share and we gathered, Ms. Kame, from all the transport officers from different municipalities, national transport, along with police officers attached to the traffic branch, was that we find out that we have the same problem in all districts. Look at the phone. That is something that is working very well right now, Ms. Kame.
What's the penalty for that if they catch you using your phone?
That's a $500
fine. $500. Just imagine, $500.
And when people hear that price, I know the first thing people would say, you know what? Quieren dinero para su gobierno, or the government want money. But if you watch it on that angle, you would never understand why is it that we're doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's something to detour you, Ms. Carmen, from having an extra hazard on the road. That is one of the biggest distractions you can ever have on the road.
Yes,
your
exactly.
phone.
Totally agree
You
with you on
cannot
that.
look at your phone, Ms. Carmen. You can't do two things at the same time. Either you're driving or you're texting.
Other traffic infractions include not wearing a seatbelt, which has a fine of $50 for each person in the vehicle not wearing the safety gear. Tonight, another family is pleading for help to locate their loved one who has been missing since the weekend. 38-year-old Solange Pot from the community of San Jose here in the Orange Walk district was reported missing by her family on Tuesday after she failed to return home after going out to run an errand on Saturday. Anyone with information of her whereabouts is asked to contact the nearest police station or her family at phone number 624-2490 or 631-3373. Coming up next, concern grows for missing 63-year-old Belito Moreno. Stay tuned.
On July 26th, the world's eyes turn to Paris to watch the 2024 Olympic Games. Get ready to cheer on your nation. Experience the biggest moments wherever you are on Express Plus app. Sign up today.
Police in the Orange Walk and Corozal districts are working to implement new crime fighting strategies under the leadership of newly appointed Northern Regional Commander Senior Superintendent Christopher Noble, who took over the reins of the North a few months ago. Today, as part of its new plan to combat crime in our northern districts, officers from different divisions within the police department in both Orange Walk and Corozal met here in Orange Walk Town for a monthly ComStat meeting where crime statistics in the region as well as crime fighting strategies were the top discussion.
Strategy and what we call ComStat or statistics. And we come together to look at our statistics, create strategies, go back to our different areas, which would be Corozal and Orange Walk, and produce tangible or real scenarios where we would go out into the public to operate at all levels, essentially to provide better service to all our stakeholders who we serve. So for us, this monthly meeting is crucial, and it takes us to where we would want to go when it comes to the other month. So we're forecasting success at the beginning of the month. For this month, we had our quarterly in Belmopan, so we had a delay in doing so, but we normally do it at the first week of every month to look at what our strategy will be for the month coming.
Speaking directly about the Orange Walk district, there has been 2 murders thus far for 2024. Similarly, other crimes have also been done for the first half of the year. The plan, according to Noble, is to maintain this trend in both northern districts.
In murders, and that is simply because last year's events had no murders up to the end of June. Sadly, the gentleman we had one incident, and that incident, an elderly gentleman, well known, passed away. We have made arrests, and in our other issues, which would be burglary, theft, and other minor incidents, the loitering, the found drunk, which would be the public intoxication, and the likes. When I say that, other people hanging out in other areas, we've been working at it, and we've seen significant arrests. And I don't want to speak for the court, but we've seen a significant rise in arrests and convictions for minor offenses in this area.
Another key aspect of crime fighting, according to Noble, is ensuring a strong relationship between the police department and residents in the north through community outreach and policing.
Because what we've been trying to do in the last 3 months since I took over is going back into the community, more community outreach, getting police officers to speak more to people. We have implemented a contact card system, so if you are met and a police officer did not give you a contact card, the contact card would have my number and the name of that police officer. So if you were happy with the contact, it works. The contact card system has made an effect, because people have called me to say that they were contacted by officers. And when you come to the station, you can now say, this officer contacted me. I will be giving a report on what this officer contacted me about. So it's for us moving positively forward. It's just that it is taking a little time. Our first 3 months, my first 3 months here, the officers have performed wonderfully. And moving forward, I'm hoping that they can do the same to get Orange Walk and Corozal way safer. I know that our patrols have extended to villages, and that has been on motorcycles. So again, when you're not being reached, reach out to us, and we will definitely look at how to get to you in the different areas when there's an issue that you have that we can assist.
Concern over the safety of 63-year-old Belito Moreno intensifies tonight as the elderly man has been missing for 7 days. Moreno was last seen on Thursday as he was attending a church service in Blackwater Creek in the community of Trawl Farm. He was in the company of his wife and granddaughter. However, he wandered outside the church and has not been located since. The elderly man reportedly left the church grounds to purchase a soft drink as he was thirsty. As soon as his family noticed that he was missing from the church, they began to look for him in the immediate area. However, he has vanished without a trace. Since then, his family has been following several leads in the hopes of bringing their loved one home. However, their efforts have been futile thus far. Today we reached out to the family once more, who told us that they continued their search. However, no news has been forthcoming about the elderly man's whereabouts since he was last seen on Thursday night in the vicinity of Sugar City Supermarket in Troll Farm. The elderly man suffers from epilepsy and requires daily medication, and every day that passes his family becomes more concerned about his health condition.
Porque él está enfermo, él necesita su tratamiento también que está agarrando. Yo le pido si lo ven que por favor me lo traigan o que me los llamen para que nosotros lo vayamos a buscar. Él tiene una camisa rojo con rayas, es que se usa con botoncitos acá. Con eso, con eso anda él y una chancla blanco. Bueno, pues el pantalón no está muy exacto, pero creo que es como negro con azulito, porque así, pues ese fue el último día que yo lo vi de él, pues hasta ahorita. Pero yo le pido al público que por favor, si lo ven, que nos llamen. O que, pues, como yo digo, no, nosotros no tenemos transporte, necesitamos de su ayuda, del gobierno que nos ayude, el ministro que si nos puede ayudar para buscarlo.
Belita Morena was last seen wearing a red striped polo shirt, white slippers, and black pants. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of 63-year-old Belita Morena are asked to kindly contact the nearest police station or his family at phone number 665-7521. Today, the Ministry of Agriculture hosted another workshop geared at making farmers become more inclusive in a changing agricultural environment in Belize in order to ensure healthy, sustainable family farming. Today's event was celebrated under the theme, Strengthening Family Farming and Small-Scale Agriculture in Belize. The event is planned for 2 days from July 17 to July 18, 2024. Garrett Maria, who is the Registrar of Cooperatives in the Ministry of Agriculture, provided an overview of the 2-day program, which also forms part of the International Day of Cooperatives that was celebrated globally on July 6th.
The activity here today and for the next 2 days is under the FO4ACP project. The acronym stands for Farmer Organizations for Africa, the Caribbean, and the Pacific. It is a project being executed under the auspices of the Food and Agricultural Organization, the FAO, and the intent is under the auspices of the Food and Agricultural Organization, the FAO, and the intent is to build capacities within smallholder farmers. It looks at essentially their entrepreneurial capacities, their farm planning capacities, and it looks at their overall their production capacities, and they're maximizing or scaling their production based on organizing as small farmers and as small producers. The activity is also a part of the International Day of Cooperatives. About 2 Saturdays ago, which was on the 6th of July, and due to the imminent threat of Hurricane Beryl, the International Day of Cooperatives passed with not much fanfare. This workshop today, we have about 15 producer cooperatives and farmer groups. There are also some non-cooperatives participating as well. They are doing so under the FO4ACP project, and the workshop has seen facilitators coming in from the international partners to the project. There is the FAO, there is Procasur, and there are several other organizations who are delivering trainings to our small farmers and to our small producers with regards to building their capacities and enhancing production, and of course encouraging better organization among our small producers. The theme of the workshop has to do with family farming, but of course, there is some organization that is required even at that level, and so the hope is that if we can improve or enhance family farming, then it will serve to enhance and improve organization of small farmers and producers preferably for us, into registered cooperatives.
There was also Pablo Alameo from Procasol, who flew into Belize to work with small farmers on how to increase production.
Today we are working together with AFO, it's a United Nations agency. We are working with small farmers. For us, they are family farming. It's very important because without them, it's impossible to get and increase the food production. And for all the Belizean people, family farming, we wanted to support them to increase the production, but also to be an important actor in the development of the country. No? We believe that they are a key actor to sustain the food and security nutrition for all the Belizean people. We are working in a project, it's AFO for ACP, it's a global project that brings resources, money, but more important, to put them, the farmer, the small farmer, in the center of the solution for increased production, increase the family production, and also increase the healthy for the people here in the country and the whole Caribbean region.
The event carries on tomorrow. And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
Experience the iconic tournament of Copa America.
Messi puts it in.
Witness each goal of the Euro Cup. And live the excitement of the CONCACAF games.
On target, and it's in. It's in the back of the net. It's a stoppage time.
Available only on Centaur's Express Plus app. Call 380-101 and sign up today. Express Plus app, streaming entertainment.
The United Nations has 17 Sustainable Development Goals and have taken it as their personal agenda to meet their target by 2030. All member states, including Belize, have adopted it as it serves as a guide for peace and prosperity for people globally. From July 8th to the 18th, the UN is hosting its 2024 High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development and is reviewing all the Sustainable Development Goals. The 10-day event is celebrated under the theme Reinforcing the 2030 Agenda and Eradicating Poverty in Times of Multiple Crises, the effective delivery of sustainable, resilient, and innovative solutions. Today, a 3-day ministerial segment from July 15 to the 17th, 2024 concluded, and it saw stakeholders posing updates of government's completion of SDGs. In the case of Belize, Caleb Orozco is in New York, and today he asked Minister Orlando Habet, who is representing Belize generally, about the inclusivity of not only LGBTQ Belizeans, but also the inclusivity of indigenous people of Belize in all things SDGs that the government of Belize has pledged to accomplish. Here is that insert followed by Minister Orlando Habet's reply.
We acknowledge the state's invitation to participate in the National VNR consultation and the People's Constitutional Commission, but participation remains devoid of commitment to LGBT Belizeans and other marginalized groups. So, we are concerned that the state foot-dragging in its constitutional duty to fully affirm court decisions of indigenous population and LGBT Belizeans. And so we ask, will the government of Belize set a date and time to submit the Equal Opportunity Bill and the Hate Crime Amendment back to Parliament in 2024? 2, will the state commit to developing an equality framework that addresses poverty of indigenous population and other marginalized groups? 3, will the state invest in LGBT data through the Belize Statistical Institute to look at the economic contribution of LGBT Belizeans? We note our observations. Belizean LGBT remain with a tax demand and penalty while the state remains negligent in leaving the population socioeconomic and civil rights concern in suspended animation. 2. The Belize VNR consultation appearance of inclusion was just a mark of attendance. Even in this room, my existence was erased. 3. The state has endorsed a portfolio for religious affairs, but not for equality, further disenfranchising over 6% of population based on sexual orientation and gender identity. Belize announcement in 2023 of a social protection strategy. Does that include LGBT Belizeans? The call for international cooperation and finance to support multidimensional vulnerability is a call that does not reflect the country's commitment to respond to LGBT issues. The struggle continues.
We are working towards the EOB bill. Certainly, steps have been taken forward. There's a formulation of the EOB bill, albeit it has been on stay. But Belize has recently legislated its gender policy, so this is one step forward. And also that we have the formation of a Ministry of Human Development, Families, Children, and Indigenous Affairs, deals with the other sectors. And also that the LGBT community has been in consultation and been invited to participate in various fora. We understand there is a process and there has that it takes some time to get there. But also I see some advocacy recently from the network of NGOs for the EOB. So more of this needs to happen. In terms of the indigenous community, the Free, Prior, and Informed Consent Protocol has been established in Belize, and legislation is currently underway for Maya customary land rights. To respond to the question from Suriname, Belize has made significant strides in utilizing data to monitor and report on its progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals for 2024 VNR. We created a partnership between the ministry responsible for sustainable development and the Statistical Institute of Belize, which is the body responsible for national data. And through concerted efforts, Belize has created a data-driven approach to its 2024 VNR, enabling informed decision-making and targeted interventions. Looking at the question from Singapore, considering the limited finance, certainly Belize established the International Cooperation Council to be the focal point for coordinating, managing, and monitoring international cooperation between Belize and its international partners. The Council is led by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade and the Ministry of Economic Development, with objectives to coordinate international development cooperation, to enhance the government's capacity to coordinate, manage, and monitor financial and technical assistance, and to coordinate and dialogue between the government and its international partners, and lastly, to analyze the data gathered and provide semi-annual reports to the Cabinet that will enhance decision-making process.
The overview of the report confirms that 17% of the SDG targets are currently on track, with nearly half showing minimal or moderate progress and over one-third stalled or regressing. The lingering impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, escalating conflicts, geopolitical tensions, and growing climate chaos are the main factors that have hindered progress. Also, 23 million people were pushed into extreme poverty, and over 100 million more were suffered from hunger in 2022 when compared to 2019. The number of civilian deaths in armed conflict soared to frightening numbers in 2023, and 2023 is the warmest on record. Yesterday, the Ministry of Immigration convened the midterm meeting of the Regional Consultation Group on Migration, RCGM, within the framework of the Regional Conference on Migration, RCM. This two-day conference has gathered member states and international organizations from across the region, including the USA and Canada, to enhance regional cooperation and improve migration governance. The meeting also marks a review of Belize's first semester of leadership of the RCM, which has seen the completion of several regional initiatives, including webinars, training courses, research, and workshops aimed at strengthening capacity for enhancing migration management and the overall protection of migrants. In her opening remarks, the CEO in the Ministry of Immigration and President Pro Tempore, Tanya Santos, reiterated the RCM's commitment to strengthening ties between all countries by enhancing dialogue and cooperation to identify areas of convergence and best practices. RCMs are further committed to using the knowledge obtained to operationalize plans of action and agreements, particularly in intersecting areas for the benefit of the region. Alongside our shared vision of safe, orderly, and humane migration, we acknowledge our common interest in human rights, citizen and border security, and the social and economic impacts of migration. Together, we can develop relevant and comprehensive migration frameworks within the region, said Santos. The meeting continued today. CEO Santos Neal is accompanied by the Director of the Department of Border Management and Immigration Services, Mrs. Deborah Baptist Estrada, and an interministerial working group, including officials from various ministries, to ensure a comprehensive and coordinated approach during Belize's tenure. This midterm meeting will be followed by an end-of-year meeting, including Belize's term as PPT, where further progress and achievements will be reviewed. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, July 18th, here on Ctv3 News and Face FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. From all of us here at Ctv3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.